Two cats walk into a cigarette factory. One of the cats straight away gets confused, because usually at this point in these stories there's a bar, and one of the cats usually sits down and waits while the other cat orders around. But no, everything's all been mixed up today, because they haven't walked into a bar, they've walked into a cigarette factory, which is a whole different kettle of fish, an entirely unsimilar ball game. It's cats, and cats don't like this. Cats don't like change. They like routine. So why they've chosen to walk into a cigarette factory on this occasion, I suppose it's to be determined by me as the storyteller. But I don't know. I don't know why a couple of cats would suddenly decide, instead of walking into a bar tonight, let's walk into a cigarette factory, presumably on night shift, if they're presumably going in here at a time when they'd normally expect to be going into the bar. Although that's a bit presumptuous on my part. Who am I to make assumptions? Well, I'll tell you who I am to make assumptions. I'm the narrator and creator of this story. I'm playing God here, and I'm perfectly entitled to. It's my universe that we're talking about here. It's no other universe. I'll tell you, this certainly isn't out in the real world. Out in the real world, cats do not walk into bars on a regular basis. Never mind deviating for a day to walk into a cigarette factory. No. If that's the way you think the world works, then I can tell you're sadly deluded. Well, maybe not sadly. Maybe you're perfectly happy, but you're deluded in your happiness. It's a misguided happiness that you have there. So don't get too cocky about it. You may well be happy like that, but you're not. No. You're wasting your intellect. That's what you're doing. You might as well be sitting there lying on the grass, staring at a caterpillar that you've just stamped on accidentally, and wondering why it's two caterpillars and why there's blood coming out of the head of one and the arse of the other. That's what you might as well be doing. Where's the joy in that? And what does that bring to? If you get joy out of that, I can tell you it's a simplistic, misinformed joy, because you're not adding anything of value to the world. You're not helping anyone there, unless the world, of course, has suddenly become obsessed with getting rid of caterpillars, in which case you may well be a hero. But don't get too cocky about that either, because this is misguided hero worship that's gotten you into this position. Just because the world is stupid, that doesn't mean you're clever. So don't be getting all excited with yourself for having your remarkable achievement with your caterpillar breakage, which, as we've already established, I think was accidental anyway in the first place. Anyway, two cats walk into a cigarette factory, and then the opening theme tune of the podcast begins.
You're listening to Into Your Head, hosted by Neal, Ireland's version of the Octomom. Except he's a dude and has cats.
Absolutely fantastic.
Anyway, as I was saying, two cats walk into a cigarette factory. One of them straight away gets confused, as does the other. But the other is confused only because he sees the other cat being confused, and he's saying, "So what the fuck is that? Is that me I'm looking at, or is it my owner, or what is it? I don't know. Could it be a mirror? I don't know. I don't know what a mirror looks like. I'm genetically incapable of recognizing a mirror, as far as I know. If I've ever seen a mirror, I don't know, because as you know, as any animal expert will tell you, animals don't know how mirrors operate, and this cat is no different from that, except that he's self-aware and he's aware of his inability to look at mirrors. So he knows that mirrors exist. He knows damn well, to sure as Christ, that he won't be able to recognise one if he ever sees one. He assumes he has seen one. He just doesn't know. Anyway, he's looking at this other cat being confused, and he starts to get confused himself. He thinks, what the frigging hell am I looking at? I suppose it could be my friend the cat who I've accompanied in here for some reasons yet to be explained, yet to be devised, in fact, by the narrator. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, he says. He's able to recognise bridges all right, don't you worry about that. He's not a complete moron. But no, a mirror completely beyond his realm of understanding. Where was it? Oh yes, the other cat's getting confused. But then after a moment, the other cat stops being confused, and that's a help, because I'm sure it's a help in some way. Is it a help in some way? How would the other cat becoming unconfused be a help? That surely cause more confusing, because now the other cat is thinking, what has he found out that has stopped his state of confusion continuing to occur? And I don't know what it is. That's very worrying. So now he's getting worried. He's turning into a frightened cat, and the other cat now sees him and thinks, what the fuck is wrong with him? And he starts getting confused again. So basically you've got two confused cats in a cigarette factory, and as well they might be confused because they're in a frigging cigarette factory instead of the usual bar. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Makes no sense whatsoever. But as far as they know, it could well make sense. It's just that they don't know what the sense is, hence their further confusion. So they both decide to walk out. They say, we'll walk out, we'll get out into the open air, and then we'll regroup, as they say. We'll sit on a wall somewhere and think this through again. So that's what they do. They go outside of the factory gates, and they sit on a wall out on the side of the road in the industrial estate or wherever it is. And then a bird comes along and they get distracted. So they spend the next hour chasing the bird, breaking it up into its constituent parts, its head, its feathers, its tail. Do birds have tails? I don't know. They have a tail end at the very least. Everything has a tail end, unless it's a perfect sphere. And a bird, I can sure as hell to Christ as hell tell you, is not a perfect sphere. There's very little perfect about a bird, and if there's one species who recognises that fully and does something about her rather than just saying it like we do, it's the humble domestic cat. They don't tolerate birds. They don't. It's the same as we humans say. We say we don't suffer fools gladly. Well, cats don't suffer birds gladly. In fact, they don't suffer birds at all. They remove them from existence as soon as they're physically able to. They get rid of them and they banish them and eat them. Absolutely fucking fantastic, if you ask me. I can tell you, you're there mocking these cats because they get all confused when they go into a cigarette factory. But have you ever ridded this planet of a bird? No, you haven't. And eating a roast chicken for dinner doesn't count because you didn't catch and kill that. No. In fact, because of you creating a demand for that chicken, more birds were grown artificially. So you've added more birds to the universe that needn't have been there in the first place, you cunt. So don't be mocking my fictional cats over their cigarette factory confusion. I suppose what I'm trying to say here is that you're a chicken hypocrite. Now that's an odd phrase, I know, but I've gone out of my way to say it here because I've just decided to name this episode Chicken Hypocrite. I'm going to have to say it now because I don't want you to be reading this title and thinking, what's this got to do with the show? Because it mightn't be completely obvious. But no, I'm calling you, the listener, a chicken hypocrite. So that's what the title of today's episode means. It means you're a chicken hypocrite. Not you personally, of course. I'm talking about the fictional one listener whom I address when I'm speaking here. I'm not saying all of you people out there are chicken hypocrite, although you may well be. You may well be a chicken hypocrite. Well, that's not for me to say. I'm addressing a fictional chicken hypocrite, except when I say what I just said. When I say, you're not the fictional chicken hypocrite who I'm addressing, when I say that, I'm not addressing the fictional chicken hypocrite, because that would cause a circular thing that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. And if there's one thing I've learned after 583 episodes of Into Your Head, it's that you have to make sense in this world. You have to get your thoughts organised in a row as you go along. Get your thoughts together, put them in a spread. I have a spreadsheet of my thoughts here. Hold on a minute. I converted it into a Word document some time ago, but nonetheless, I can still call it a spreadsheet if I want to call it a spreadsheet. It's got rows and numbers and things. Here we go. Funny writings for use in things. Let's have a look at this. 22. Glad to see Sesame Street got an Oscar. I think I reused that recently. 38. If two drivers leave cities 100 miles apart, travelling towards each other at 100 miles per hour, both are guilty of a serious breach of road traffic law. Now, that's not one of my best ones, but I'm picking them at random here. There's that Paul McCartney's Yesterday tragedy thing that I've used several times on the social networks. What else? The Eskimos have 876 words for snow, but none for phlegm retardant cat. The human skeleton is a misnomer since there are I'm wasting all this now. I'm supposed to be saving this for my social networking promotional purposes. Never ask a parrot a question that you wouldn't be prepared to answer yourself. Something about Pink Floyd. I might retire the Pink Floyd stuff. It's getting a bit old. There's no people left in the world today who have heard of Pink Floyd but are also able to use the internet. Thanks to the generation gap. All the people who have heard of Pink Floyd are now too old to be able to learn how to use a computer or an iPad. Maybe they're starting to get iPadless, I don't know. You might be able to bring the Pink Floyd stuff back when these people get their special internet aids that Steve Jobs and the like have designed for people who are too lazy to learn how to use a freaking keyboard. But no, until then, we'll save our Pink Floyd stuff. I'm surprised they haven't written any Led Zeppelin stuff, have I? I think I've spoken about dead Led Zeppelin drummers several times on the show. I don't think I've written any specific one-liners. Why would you write Led Zeppelin one-liners? Nobody's ever. Led Zeppelin, for one thing, Led Zeppelin are the epitome of ripped off of itness. If you do a search on YouTube, you'll find a thing. Oh, there's a thing that's a string of Led Zeppelin songs with the underlying songs from which they were stolen put in beside them. I can see it's all a rip-off. It's a rip-off. Led Zeppelin song Stairway to Heaven, for example, that was ripped off from the Bible or something. She's buying a stairway to heaven. She is not. She's buying 8 hours of labour, and she's buying some materials, or at best a pre-built staircase, which will still have to be installed. You can't buy a stairway, and you certainly can't have it going up to heaven. There was a fella once, wasn't there? No, there was a thing. That's right. I made this up, but now I've just realised there was a thing in the Bible about someone trying to build a stairway to heaven. They built a big tower or something. The Tower of something was called, to try and build it up to the heavens. Didn't work, apparently, and there was some lesson was learned. Apparently it's a bad thing now to try and build a stairway up to heaven. That's considered overreaching. You're not allowed to have ambitions in this world. It's considered immoral. You're not allowed to. You're supposed to sit here with your humble little podcast and your 8 cats and your quarter 1.5 litre bottle of 7-Up free. I don't know. I don't know what the world's coming. What's the world coming to? What is it? I don't know. What day is today? Today's Friday. Today I'm going to a thing, so I'm recording this in advance. Not that you need to know. Everything's recorded in advance anyway. You don't record stuff live. I hope you realise that. When you're listening to this next week, I'm not recording this live as you listen. Well, that's obvious, but that's not what the pointer is trying to make. Something about was it? I don't know. I've lost it. This segment isn't going very well. I'm not too proud to admit that. No. I've got a bit of modesty in me. I can say this is one of the least pride enabling segments of late. No, I'm not. I am ashamed of that and go. I'm not too proud to say so. And I'm not too proud. If you can have too much pride, but you can also have too little ambition. That's what those stairway. Oh yes, that's where it was. Stairway to heaven. That's what those stairway to heaven people need to learn. There's nothing wrong with trying to build a stairway to heaven as long as you admit that you can't do it as soon as you've realised that you can't do it. That's what it's about. Honesty. Honesty, that's one of the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not worship false possibilities of being able to build something that you can't build. But until you realise through practice that you can't, and through trying and effort that you can't reach that thing, you're allowed to have a bit of ambition. Just because you haven't found out yet that you can't do it, that doesn't mean you have to go around saying I can't do it, because that's defeatism, and that's one of the commandments as well. Thou shalt not be a defeatist, and thou shalt not worship false gods of I don't know. This is all common sense stuff anyway. I don't know why we need a big frigging book to tell us this. You can find. I have a book here. Let's have a look at this. Wacky Wednesday by Dr. Seuss. This was sent to me by a listener some time ago. Children love to play What's Wrong with This Picture, searching out all... Oh, that's just an introduction. This book comes from the home of the cat and the... Where are we? We've read this before. It's getting repetitive. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and over again just because... bollocks. You get the general idea. Anyway, did we ever finish the 2 cats walk into the cigarette factory thing? Where were they? Were outside sitting on the wall. They got distracted by a bird and they ridded the world of a bird. But you're still not happy. You think, they never explained the whole cigarette factory thing. They've ridded this world of a bird and probably several rodents during their lifetimes and probably several more birds. But you still make demands of them as if they were some sort of employee of yours. You expect them to come up with, you still tell them, you spent half a day travelling to that cigarette factory and you still haven't accounted for what you achieved there. They're not accountable to you. Fictional cats that visit a cigarette factory by accident and then kill a bird on the way out are not accountable to you. You're not the cat industry regulator sent out by some government authority. No, you're getting ideas above your station there. So sit down, go to intoyourhead.com and click on my Amazon links and buy stuff on Amazon there. I buy anything on Amazon. Just get there through my links at intoyourhead.com and I get several percent. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps make up for the fact that you're critiquing fictional cats who have done nothing to you. They don't owe you anything. It's not like they're using up resources in the world. No, that's not even a real cigarette factory. They're just floating around in my imagination and you think they owe you an explanation. Get a fucking grip. Anyway, on with the show. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, I wonder, is he going to remember to remind us that Monday, this coming Monday, is a bank holiday? Because he recently announced he wasn't going to do shows on bank holiday Mondays anymore. Well, you're damn right about that. I didn't. This coming Monday is a bank holiday, so there'll be no podcast on Monday. So don't get all in a big furore when you come on here on a Monday expecting to be entertained by someone who's in another country where we allow people to take a break every now and then, especially the first Monday of June and the first Monday of May and the first Monday of August and Monday at the end of October, and 2 days at Christmas and one on St. Patrick's Day and 2 at Easter, although one of the Easter ones is more of a church holiday than a bank holiday, so there's always a lot of confusion about that, although the bank's closed for a half day on that day, so it's hard to know really, blurring the lines really between bank holidays and church holidays, and this isn't even a bank. I've always wondered, when they say bank holiday, do they mean it was based on some historical things involving banks, or do they mean, you have a bank of holidays and you're required to use one of them today? I don't know. I don't really want to look her up, because if the latter is the answer, then I'll find that rather depressing, thinking, the nation has decided you have a bank of holidays and we're going to force you to use one today on a chosen date. No, it's nothing very freedomistic about that. No. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. Where were we? The cat's outside on the wall, outside the freaking thingy yolk factory. Now I should point out, as I'm thinking about this Christmas, this cigarette factory, I've never been in a cigarette factory in my life. I don't think I've even seen one. So in my mind, I'm picturing the exterior of a Christmas tree factory in which I used to work, except I'm not picturing the road layout that was outside that. Instead, I'm picturing the road layout that's outside my local postal parcel distribution office, which happens to be in an industrial estate where there's lots of factories. It's on a quieter road than the Christmas tree factory was. So really, it's just like a dream. I've melded two different locations familiar to me into one fictional location in my mind, and I'm using them as the location for this cat-bird incident. So I just thought I'd clear that up. Anyway, on with the show. Monkey nuts, that's what they called them. They called them big steaming piles of monkey nuts, except they're not. They're bird heads, and they're outside what's supposedly a Christmas tree factory. No, rather it's supposedly a cigarette factory, but in my mind it's more of a Christmas tree factory, except for some reason there's postal vans going up and down the road outside at regular intervals. Why did they be going at regular intervals? I don't know. It's 8:03 in the morning. It's the time when all of the postal staff are filling up their vans, and they leave as soon as they're ready. They don't leave on a spaced out like frigging subway trains, 2 minutes apart. No, they leave when they're ready. It probably looks like there were regular intervals, though. Maybe they've been through some sort of traffic light system, and that's causes them to be spaced apart. That would explain it, I suppose. Maybe they've some sort of one-way traffic light barrier at the exit of their building there. I don't know. This is all. Let's say that's the case. And of course, this is my imagination. I can say whatever I want. I can say anti-disestablishmentarian Aloysius, expialid, anti-disestablishmentarianism expialidocious. That's what I could say. It makes no sense whatsoever, but I can say it, and I will fight to the death for my right to say it, as long as I don't have to die. I'll just fight for the right to die for it. That'll be fine. There's no point fighting for rights if you're just going to end up dead, do doing it, that's no use to you. That's like spending half your day going around catching a wasp and then not eating it when you catch it. Just setting it free, letting it out through the window, free to come back and bother you again, or free to I don't know. Oh look, my piano's ready. My iPad piano is available to us here. I don't know if it adds anything to this particular segment, so it's good to know that it's there, that's all. There we go. Hold on. So there you go. Just so you know, I'm prepared if anything occurs during this or any recording that would benefit from having a touchscreen piano in front of me. It's right there. I'm ready for almost any circumstance that might arrive. Two cats walk bollocks. Two cats walk bollocks. Two cats walk bollocks. I said that intentionally this time. I'm so used to it now. I said it twice unintentionally now because I stumbled, so that when I start the third time now, my mind is being rewired to think I have to say bollocks as part of the first sentence of every story, which is probably going to be a problem for me as I head back out into the real world. If I ever go back into the workplace, that's probably going to be a problem for me now. I'll go to interviews and I'll say, hello, tell me about your experience. What have you been doing for the last few years? Well, I'll say bollocks. Bollocks. I sit at home telling stories about cats walking into, on this occasion walking out of, but in order to walk out of, they have to first walk into, and I believe in being, actually this might stand to benefit me in job applications now that I think about it. If I say, I would never dream of starting a story by saying two cats walk out of a factory or whatever it is. Yeah, a cigarette factory. I'd first start by saying how they came to be in it in the first place. That would probably impress a lot of employers. It should anyway. If they want someone who does the job properly and doesn't just start in the middle and not worry about how they got there. I don't know. Because if you're doing a job properly, you don't just get dropped in the middle of it. Maybe you do in a factory or something. They'll say, I'm going to slot you in here now between the fella who opens the box and the fella who closes the box, and you're going to be the fella who puts the stuff into the box. I suppose that could work. In fact, that's what they used to do with me when I worked in that Christmas tree factory. But no, say for a job more appropriate to me, a 36-year-old adult with many years of clerical experience under my belt, I'd probably be going for something a little more sophisticated. Not to say there's anything wrong with working in a Christmas tree factory doing that stuff. I'm just saying it's more appropriate at my stage in my life to be going for something else. And based on my experience, as it happens, I'm doing this at the moment. I'm telling you all about these two cats. They walk back into the cigarette factory having, now I've been confusing myself there because I've been going on boasting about how at an interview I would say, I'd never tell about cats coming out of a factory until I've said how they went in the first place. Well, I've just realised in this case what I'm talking about is two cats who came out of a factory, and now I'm talking about them going back in, which is slightly different. But nonetheless, I did explain the circumstances under which they went in the first time, and then I explained them leaving, and now I'm explaining them going in again. So that's all fine, I suppose. So it's not really a major issue. Don't you be putting that down as a black mark against me if you're a potential employer listening to this. It's not a fault. No, I just happen to be, it's befitting of the story that I'm telling. They're going back into the factory for a second time. It's all completely logical and above board. Anyway, back into the factory they go. Except this time they stop at the receptionist area. And this sounds familiar because a few weeks ago I told of two cats who went into a cigarette factory, if I remember rightly, and had a conversation with the secretary there. But no, this is a separate occasion. Sometimes the same thing happens twice in the world, you know. That's why we've had over 387 popes. In fact, I think we've had 600 or 700 since the foundation of the church. And then I've discovered recently there's popes in other churches as well. Oh, some pope died recently in some obscure church somewhere in some Middle East country or somewhere. Forget his name, forget what he was or anything. But no, there are other popes besides the ones that we in the Western world assume people are referring to when they say popes. And for another thing, your man, Shane McGowan now of the Pogues, his backing group now for his solo career is called the Popes. So that's another thing. So no, there's more popes than meet the eye in the world. What's that even mean? I don't know. But I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Anyway, are we done yet? I think we are. Or will we make this will we extend this into a longer thing? We will not. I don't have time to be extending this into a longer thing. It's a normal half hour show, and that's the way it's going to be, and we'll be back next Wednesday after the bank holiday with another one, and that'll be enough for you. That'll be enough for you now, I can tell you. If you don't like it, go and take a running jump for yourself up beside Ali and see if you can impress anyone with that. It's a very impressive circus act to run up the side wall of an alley, but if you're in an alley, there's not going to be much room to have an audience in there, so you're not going to be able to make a circus career out of that, unless I suppose you make some sort of a glass-walled alley and put it in the middle of a circus stage, a ring, then I suppose, but that's not really genuine. That's a fake recreation of the alley situation, and people will pan your work as being artificial. That's what they'll say. They'll say it's artificial. They'll say that fella, he claims to be a proper street climber, but no, he gets an artificial glass street and puts it in a contrived circumstance in the middle of a ring full of hair and elephant crap and clowns running around the outskirts, handing out candy floss. Oh no, a proper street artist wouldn't have all that stuff around him. Anyway, good morning.
Email us at studio@intoyourhead.com.
Help support this free podcast. Go to intoyourhead.com/tipjar.
Sit, Kofi, sit. Good cat.
intoyourhead.com.